"Your best man's been seeing me for months," she said, smiling like it was a joke. Then I saw the ring box still open in my hand. I didn't speak, just nodded. When the wedding day came, I wasn't the one waiting at the altar. It's strange how silence can be louder than a scream. She stood there in our kitchen, arms crossed, voice shaking between guilt and pride. I just watched her mouth move. Words like sorry and it just happened kept spilling out, but none of them landed anywhere inside me. I just picked up the ring that morning. Simple band, white gold, the one she'd circled in a photo months ago. I still had it in my pocket. When she said Ryan's name, my best man, something inside me froze. It wasn't shock. It was something heavier, quieter. Ryan and I had been friends since college. He was at every birthday, every barbecue, every stupid late-night call. I trusted him more than my own brother. And he was sleeping with my fiancée. I didn't yell, didn't throw anything, didn't even ask why. I just nodded, put the ring box on the counter, and walked out. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't even drink. I just sat in my car outside the apartment, watching the streetlights flicker against the windshield, wondering how long it had been going on. I kept hearing her laugh in my head, the same laugh she used when she lied about small things. The next morning, she called. I let it ring. Then she texted, "Can we talk, please?" When we met, she started crying the second she saw me. Said it wasn't serious, said it was a mistake, that she still wanted to marry me. I just watched her. I realized then that I wasn't heartbroken. I was done. Completely done. Still, I told her I forgave her. She looked shocked, then relieved, then almost happy. She asked if I really meant it. I said yes. 2 days later, Ryan called. His voice was too casual, too light. "Man, I know this is awkward," he said, "but I just want to make sure we're good." "Yeah," I said, "we're good." He told me they were still going through with the wedding. "It's gonna be small," he said, "but I'd really like you to come. You're my brother, man." I smiled even though he couldn't see it. "Of course," I said. "Wouldn't miss it." He laughed, that easy, fake kind of laugh, and thanked me over and over. I hung up, leaned back in the chair, and stared at the ceiling for a long time. Then I said out loud, "Okay, let's see how good you both really are." Over the next few weeks, they sent out new invitations. People talked. I heard the whispers, how mature I was for handling it so well, how big of me it was to still show up. That part almost made me laugh. People love a calm man. They never ask what's behind it. When Hannah texted me asking if I could help with the slideshow, "Since you're so good with this stuff," I agreed. I didn't even hesitate. I spent nights looking through old photos, memories that used to mean something. Us at the lake. Her birthday. Ryan standing next to me, smiling. I stared at those pictures for hours until they stopped looking like real people. But I wasn't interested in memories anymore. I wanted honesty. I wanted everyone, her family, his friends, all those smiling guests, to see what they'd really built their love on. Not to hurt them, just to stop pretending. I didn't have to dig hard. I already knew where to look, what to show. There were messages, pictures, things she'd forgotten to hide. Little pieces of truth lying in plain sight. And so I made something new. A simple video, nothing fancy. Just a story told the way it really happened. Their words, not mine. When I finished, I felt calm. Colder than before, but calm. Like everything finally made sense. A week before the wedding, Hannah texted again. "It means so much that you're coming. I know it's weird, but it shows how strong you are." I typed back, "Don't worry, I'll be there." And I was. I bought a new suit, shaved, looked exactly like a man who'd moved on. The day of the wedding, the sky was bright and windless. Perfect weather, everyone said. The kind of day you'd expect for a happy ending. I got there early, helped carry a few chairs, even shook Ryan's father's hand. Nobody looked twice at me. Hannah walked in later, all white and glowing, pretending not to see me. But she did. Her eyes flickered for a second. A small twitch of guilt, maybe fear. Then she smiled and kept walking. When the ceremony started, I sat near the back. They said their vows, promised forever. Everyone clapped. I didn't. I just watched their hands tremble as they slid the rings on. During the reception, I kept to myself. Smiled when people talked, said, "I'm doing great," when they asked. The air was full of champagne and fake laughter. Then, somewhere between the cake and the first dance, the lights dimmed. The host announced, "All right, Everyone, it's time for a little surprise. A video of the bride and groom story. Everyone cheered. Glasses clinked. I leaned back in my chair and waited. The video started like every other wedding story you've ever seen. Soft music, childhood photos, awkward teenage smiles, college memories. People laughed, clapped at the baby pictures, whispered things like, "They're perfect together." I watched Hannah's shoulders relax. Ryan put his arm around her chair. They both looked so proud, so safe. For the first 2 minutes, everything was exactly what they expected. Then, about halfway through, the pictures changed. At first, it was subtle, a photo of the three of us together, cropped a little differently. The next frame, another one, just me and Ryan, smiling. Then the next, Hannah's hand on his shoulder. From a night they'd both told me they were working late. People started noticing. The laughter softened. One of her cousins tilted her head, confused. Ryan frowned, looked at the screen, then back at the guy controlling it. But there was nothing to stop. The music kept playing. And then came the words. A text conversation appeared on the screen, white background, black letters, simple, clear. No captions, no explanation. Hannah, he's asleep. You can come. Ryan, be quiet this time. A few nervous laughs scattered across the room, the kind that say this has to be a joke. Then another message. Hannah, I hate lying to him. Ryan, then don't. Just say yes to me. The sound in the room changed. All the small talk stopped. Glasses froze halfway to lips. Someone gasped. Hannah's mother stood up, her face pale. Ryan's hand dropped from Hannah's chair. I didn't move. I just sat there, watching what I'd already seen 100 times before. Watching them see themselves. Then came the photos. A mirror selfie, her hair messy, his jacket hanging off a chair behind her. Another one, him driving her car. The timestamps were there in the corner. No commentary, just facts. Someone near the front whispered, "Is this real?" It was. The music faded for a second, replaced by a short audio clip. Her voice, quiet but unmistakable. "I love him, but it's different. Ethan's just safe." That was the only sentence I used. Just one. I didn't need more. When the clip ended, the screen went black. A few seconds passed. Then, in white letters, "Some promises don't deserve to be kept." The video cut out. Silence. You could hear the sound of the air conditioning, the distant hum of a phone vibrating somewhere. Then someone stood up, one of her uncles, I think, and shouted, "What the hell is this?" No one answered. Hannah was shaking. Ryan tried to grab her hand, but she pulled away. People were standing now, looking at them like strangers who just witnessed an accident. I stood too slowly. Not dramatic, not angry, just done. As I walked toward the door, I heard her call my name once. Not loud, not pleading, just small, broken. I didn't turn around. Outside, the sun was still shining. I could hear the muffled chaos through the glass. Voices rising, chairs scraping, someone crying. It all sounded far away, like a radio tuned to another station. I walked across the parking lot, loosened my tie, and let out the first full breath I'd taken in weeks. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like clarity. When I reached my car, I looked back at the building one last time. Through the big windows, I could still see the flicker of the screen inside, frozen on the words I'd left them with. Then I got in, started the engine, and drove away. The phone started buzzing almost immediately, her, then Ryan, then unknown numbers. I let it ring. Then I turned it off. I didn't go home. I drove for hours through small towns, down roads that didn't matter. I stopped at a diner somewhere around midnight, ordered coffee, and finally smiled. Not because I'd won. There was no winning in this. Just truth. And truth finally was enough. When people lie to you, they take something, not just trust, but the part of you that believes things can be simple again. That night, sitting in that half-empty diner, I realized I didn't want simple anymore. I wanted quiet. And for the first time since she said those words, "Your best man's been seeing me for months," I finally had it. I stayed in that diner until the morning light started bleeding through the blinds. The waitress filled my cup 3 times without asking questions. She didn't need to. She could tell I was one of those people who'd lost something invisible. When I finally stepped outside, the air was sharp and clean. I felt lighter but not free. Like someone had cut off a limb I'd learned to live without. You don't just move on from betrayal. You carry it quietly until it stops bleeding. I drove home sometime around noon. My phone had 40 missed calls. A mix of numbers I recognized and ones I didn't. I didn't check the messages, just deleted them all. I didn't need to hear the excuses or the outrage. The video had already said everything that needed to be said. By the afternoon, people knew. Small towns move fast when there's something to whisper about. I didn't have social media anymore, but friends texted screenshots. The story was already online. Someone at the wedding must have filmed the screen. Maybe everyone did. It spread like a spark in dry grass. I didn't post anything, didn't comment, didn't defend myself. I didn't have to. The truth stands just fine on its own. That night, Hannah came to my apartment. I knew she would. The knocking started soft, then harder. I almost didn't open the door, but curiosity won. She looked different. Hair messy, makeup gone, eyes red. Not the woman who used to check her reflection in every mirror. "Why would you do that?" she said. "No, hi." No apology. Just that. I leaned against the doorframe. "Because you lied," I said. "That doesn't give you the right to humiliate me." I laughed once. Not loud. Just a quiet exhale that wasn't really laughter at all. "You did that yourself." She started crying again, the kind of crying that used to make me cave. But not anymore. She kept saying things like, "You ruined my life and you don't understand what it's like to make a mistake." When she finally stopped, I asked one question. "If I hadn't found out, would you have told me?" She didn't answer. Her face said enough. I stepped back and held the door open. "You should go." She looked like she wanted to say something else. Maybe to apologize, maybe to curse me, but nothing came out. She left without another word. When the elevator doors closed, I locked the door and sat on the floor. I don't know how long I stayed there, staring at nothing. Long enough for the sun to fade. The next few days were quiet. My phone stopped ringing. People at work gave me that look. The one that mixes pity and curiosity. No one asked for details, but they all knew. Ryan didn't show up, didn't call, didn't text. A part of me wanted him to. I wanted him to face it, to look me in the eye. But he didn't. Cowards never do. A week later, I heard he'd lost his job. His boss was at the wedding that night, apparently. I didn't feel bad. Actions have gravity. They fall back on you eventually. As for Hannah, she moved out of the city. Someone said she went to stay with her sister for a while. I didn't ask where. At night, I'd sometimes catch myself replaying the moment when the video ended. That perfect, heavy silence right before everything fell apart. I'd wonder if that made me cruel. Maybe it did. But when people strip you down to nothing, showing them the mirror isn't cruelty. It's balance. One night, I went down to the river, the one where we'd taken our engagement photos. The lights shimmered on the water like everything was pretending to be calm. I sat on the railing and thought about the last few months. How quickly love can rot when built on lies. I realized I didn't miss her. Not even a little. I missed who I thought she was. That version of her. The one who laughed into my chest. Who swore she'd never hurt me. She never existed. I'd loved a ghost I built in my head. Somewhere behind me, someone played music from a car stereo. A slow song that used to mean something to us. I didn't turn around. I just listened until it ended. When I got home, I deleted the last photo of her on my phone. It wasn't an angry move, just final. Like closing a door that's been open too long. I slept for 12 hours straight. In the morning, I woke up hungry for the first time in weeks. I made coffee, opened the window, and just stood there watching the world keep going. It struck me then. Life doesn't pause for heartbreak. It just waits until you're ready to move again. And for the first time since that kitchen morning, I felt ready. A few months passed before I heard from either of them again. Life had started to settle into something quiet, almost peaceful. I went back to work, kept my head down, stopped checking messages I didn't need to read. I saw friends again, the real ones. The ones who didn't look at me like I was broken. One afternoon, out of nowhere, an email popped up. No subject line, just a name. Ryan. For a moment I thought about deleting it unopened. But curiosity still had a pulse. So I clicked. I know you probably hate me. I deserve it. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I've lost everything. Hannah left a month ago. I can't blame her. I just needed to say it. You didn't deserve any of it. That was all. No excuses. No long explanations. Just that. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Some endings don't need dialogue, just silence. Later that evening, I took a walk down Main Street. It was one of those soft, late summer evenings where the air smells like rain that never comes. I passed the bakery where we used to get coffee on Sundays. The girl behind the counter smiled at me. Not in pity, not in recognition. Just a normal smile. I smiled back. Felt strange, but good. I stopped by the park, sat on the same bench I'd once used to plan my proposal. There was a couple sitting a few feet away, holding hands, laughing about something stupid. It didn't hurt to see them. Not anymore. That's when I understood what had really changed. It wasn't that I'd stopped caring. It's that I finally cared about the right things again. About peace. About quiet. About not letting someone else's lies define who I was. People always talk about revenge like it's fire. Like it burns everything in its path, including you. Maybe that's true for most. But for me, it was different. I didn't want flames. I wanted light. Just enough for everyone to see the truth. And once the truth was out, I didn't need to touch it again. A few weeks later, I packed up the apartment. New city, new job, small place with tall windows and a view of the street below. Nobody there knew my name or what I'd done. It was perfect. Sometimes, late at night, I'd think about that day. The moment the screen went dark, the faces frozen between disbelief and guilt. I'd remember the stillness in that room. How for once, they couldn't hide behind charm or lies. That silence was my closure. I didn't get married. Didn't start dating for a long time. I didn't need to. I just lived. Learned to enjoy mornings again. The smell of coffee, the sound of traffic, the way sunlight creeps across the floor. The last time I saw Hannah was almost a year later. I was walking out of a bookstore downtown, and she was there on the other side of the street. For a second, our eyes met. She hesitated like she wanted to cross, to say something. But then she didn't. She just turned and kept walking. I watched her go until she disappeared into the crowd. And for the first time since all of it began, I felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no sadness, just done. I went home that night and wrote something down on a scrap of paper. Maybe just to remember it later. Sometimes the only way to win is not to fight at all. Just to let them see what they've done and walk away. That note still sits folded in my wallet. Not as a reminder of her, but of me, the man who learned that silence, in the right moment, can be the loudest sound in the world. And that's the story of how I didn't show up to my own wedding, because I'd already shown them everything they needed to see.